Hey there, welcome to tonight's Mental Health Live, and I want to welcome each and every single one of you. You are very important. But first, I have something to say. Ready? I am not professional. I'm not professional at all. I am not a counselor. I am not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I cannot diagnose, nor can I prescribe medication. So, having said that, I also want you to know that I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes. So, if I say anything incorrectly, please feel free to let me know so I can do more further research on it. So tonight I want to get back as a refresher course back to the basics of why we need to take care of ourselves, right? And how do we do that? So the first one I'm going to go over is my book called The Tiny Steps to Success, the right step. Look how the right is spelled, right? WRITE. I bet you can guess what that means. Ready? So this right here, I did a lot of research. I did counseling, and I wrote this because it's good practice to remember what the truth is versus what the lies are that we hear in our heads. Okay. So I'm not going to read everything. If you want it, you can find it on Amazon. Oh, my stars, almost forgot. But I'm going to skip right ahead, and I am going to go to the very first chapter, which is called journaling. So journaling is the right step to take, correct? So journaling is very rewarding in many different ways. First of all, if you start today and then a year from now, you like, wow, did I really feel that way back then? Or wow, did I really say that? Or wow, did I really do this? Or whatever the case is. So it brings you from where you were to where you were going to hopefully where we end up in a better mental health state, right? Hopefully. So there's many reasons for journaling. So let's go over that. So journaling keeps you in perspective. By keeping someone in perspective, it means that when you write something down, you can actually see what it is, right? So if you, okay, in my instance, one of my, I call them ants, and I'll get to that later. One of my ants in my head is, you're not smart, nobody wants to read your books, right? So I put that down. I'm not smart, nobody wants to read my books. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, I'm not that smart. I'm not professional in any way, shape, or form. But with the knowledge that I had from both experience and with counseling, I found that journaling really helps to keep me, what's what I'm looking for, not just in perspective, but it also gives me a foundation of what I need for me. And I hope it works for you too. Not everyone likes to journal. Journaling is different for everyone. So it could be videos, it could be recordings of your voice, it could be typing on a computer versus writing in an actual physical journal. Whatever it is, everyone's going to be different. And I've had people say, oh, it's not going to help. Oh, it's not going to help. Have you actually tried it? Because until you do it for 6 months, every day, until you do it for 6 months, you're really not going to know if it works or not. So let's say that you start in January, because I'm bad at math here, guys. So you start in January, you do it every single day for January, February, March, April, May. Now you're in June. And now it just becomes a part of your routine. I journal. I do this. And you look back to January's because you're in June, right? So you look back to January and you're like, wow, I have come a long way. And when you do that, it gives you the perspective of where you were to where you are now. Hello, welcome in. So journaling helps keep you in perspective. It also helps your brain regulate emotions. So let's say that when you're journaling, you write down just simple words like angry, frustrated, and you don't have to say why. You can just put, I'm not saying write a book. I'm just saying when you journal, write down things that mean something to you and maybe put an example. So for instance, someone said that my laser engraving work was crap and only made for garbage, right? So my emotions are, I'm hurt, I'm angry, and I can't believe that somebody would actually say something like that. So now I'm doubting myself. So now I'm being doubtful. And I worry, well, if my stuff is meant for the garbage, Do I sell it? Do I stop doing laser engraving? So you write all this stuff down. And then you can look at it and go, okay, now how do I really truly feel about this? So you really want to pay attention to your emotions, get that perspective you need, keep regulating your emotions. And journaling also helps provide a greater sense of confidence and your self identity of who you are, where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. Um, and it also helps build your confidence and your self esteem because now, and you're not so worried about somebody else's opinion of you. And one of my friends told me, anyone else's opinion of you is none of your business. That's their opinion, their thought, not what you should actually believe is true. And so now we're getting that sense of confidence because we're writing stuff down and we're like, yeah, that's not who I am. I am this. I am good. I am kind. I'm loving. I'm whatever the case is, right? Journaling also tracks where you were, where you are, and where you want to be in the future, like I mentioned before. So it keeps track of stuff like that. It helps keep you in perspective. It helps regulate your emotions. It provides a sense of comfort as well as confidence in your self-confidence in yourself and self-identity of who you are. Because sometimes, like with me, I'm an empty nester, too many years ago, but I don't care. And in the beginning, when the youngest one left, I was like an empty nester. And I'm like, oh my stars, who am I now? I used to be this mom running my kid here, there, all three of my kids, right? Here, there, everywhere for all their sporting events and I don't know, sleepovers. And I never had time for myself. And now all of a sudden I have all this time. Who am I? So there's my self-identity now. So now I got to figure out who I am without my three children. Yes, I'm still a wife. But that's not really who I am. That's a title. All right. So it also can reduce stress and anxiety. And I have a lot of anxiety. And so if you do, this might actually help you by writing down what you were feeling at the time you had anxiety. What was it like? What was the feelings like? What did you feel? Was it a physical, emotional, mental? What was it? And it also can strengthen your memory and keep it sharp because now you got something to lean back on. So now you have this I've done some like that. I am self-aware, conceited, not conceited. I get that. I'm kind, not selfish. Right, exactly. And so, like I was saying, strengthening your memory because I don't know about you, but I forget things. I do. And so for me, if I write something down, I can go back and go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So like the time when my son was just 6, 7, and he stole something from the store, I wrote it down. Completely forgot about it. He's in his 30s now, right? Completely forgot about it. And I found that journal from way back when. And I went, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So it'll help you bring back memories. And it could be something like my son stole, and I would have remembered exactly what it was, right? It also helps gain control of your emotions. Because if you're ever angry or stressed or frustrated or sad or depressed, and you put down what your emotions are, you can go, why do I feel that way? And put it on the side of why you feel, stressed or angry or whatever the case is. And then you can go, is it something I can change? Can I change that? If you can change it, change it. If you cannot, scratch it off and move on to the next emotion and try and get rid of that as much as possible. It can also improve your mental health, which is where we all need it the most. We need to have that mental health, the physical mental health, the emotional, the verbal, and the emotional mental health. We need to have a healthy mental health. And I know it almost sounds like I'm saying it twice, but it's true. When you start journaling and you're focusing on what you're thinking and what you're saying, or maybe you're not, maybe you're just writing down what it is that just automatically comes to your mind, right? But it can improve your mental health because now you can actually see stuff. It can also boost your mood. It can boost your mood. Believe it or not, it can. Especially when you focus on positive things. Get all the negative out and then focus on the positive. It can also provide a positive mindset. I've always told everyone, if you focus on the negative, you're going to find more negative. If you focus on the positive, you're going to find more positive. Don't stray. Stay on the positive side of things. So, just to recap, journaling keeps you in perspective. It helps your brain regulate emotions, provides a greater sense of confidence and self-identity. It tracks where you were, where you are, and where you want to be. Reduces stress and anxiety. Strengthens memory by keeping it sharp. Gains control of your emotions. Improves mental health. Boosts your mood and provides positive mindset. And it also helps to organize your thoughts when your mind is racing with a million and one things. Yes, exactly. So if you get a chance to journal, my suggestion is every morning before you even get out of bed, write 3 things that you want to accomplish that day. And it could be simple things. I know for me, I struggle taking a shower every single day. I know, don't feel bad, don't judge me. Maybe it's a struggle just making your bed in the morning. Maybe you're running late and you couldn't brush your teeth. Whatever it is, but make sure every single day is a different accomplishment that you want to do. The next thing I want you to do is write 3 things that you're grateful for before you get out of bed. Write 3 things that you are grateful for. And it could be you're grateful that you have a bed or a house or food or a vehicle or a job, whatever it is, just 3 things, right? And then go about your day and try to focus on the positives. Try to focus on the good that's happening around you. Maybe you smell flowers. One of my favorite smells is fresh cut grass. Maybe that'll help. Maybe you walk by a bakery and the smell of the goods being baked is a really good thing, right? So whatever the positives are, you want to focus on the positives, write down the positives at night before you go to sleep. Because if you focus on the negative before you go to sleep, you'll probably wake up cranky and exhausted, because I don't know about you, but with me, my mind keeps racing on the negatives if I keep focusing on the negative. So I have to write down the positive in order for me to focus on the positive, in order for me to fall asleep going, yes. One of the big things for me is I talked to my daughter who moved away to Alabama. I live in Oregon. And my grandsons. And that to me is a big positive. And when I go to sleep at night, I remember that, even though I miss them greatly. So whatever it is that your positives, 3 positives are at night, write them down, right? And then do that every day for about 6 months. And every night, celebrate your success for journaling. And it can be something simple. Maybe it's a candy, or maybe it's jumping on your bed. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, celebrate it. But do it in a safe environment, please. So once you celebrate your success, you can journal throughout the day if that's what you want to do. That's fine. I have a friend that has a journal in his car. He's got a journal for food. He's got a journal for the doctors. He's got a journal for clothes, I think it was, weight. I forgot what, so he's got one in his bedroom, one in his living room, one in his kitchen, one in his car. And I'm like, dang, I think he's got more. Don't quote me on that. But at first he fought me and says, no journaling. And then he realized, yeah, it's important. It can really clear your mind. So, because your mind will play tricks on you and tell you things that probably aren't true. But once you put it down, your eyes can actually see it. If you read it out loud, your ears can hear it, and it goes back into your head with whatever the positive is. So try and focus on the positive as much as possible. Journaling also helps control your symptoms and can improve your mood by helping you prioritize problems, fears, concerns, tracking any symptoms day to day so that you can recognize triggers and learn how to control them better. It can provide an opportunity for positive self-talk and identify negative thoughts and behaviors. So again, it's very important that you journal. It's important for you to take care of you in whatever manner that you possibly can. And I suggest starting with journaling, but that's just me. What journaling does not replace is eating a healthy, balanced diet. It doesn't replace regular daily activities or exercises. It does not replace getting plenty of sleep at night. It does not replace relaxing and meditating, and it does not replace staying away from overuse of drugs and alcohol. You have to do that yourself. So here's and it's in my book. So here's a Bible scripture. It says Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creepy thing that creeps on earth." In case you didn't know, this verse doesn't say that man has dominion over other men or women in that matter. But most importantly, you need to love yourself. It's one of the things I've always told my children. How do you expect somebody else to love you if you don't love you? Have high expectations of yourself to have high expectations of someone who wants to love you, because you are valuable. You are worthy. And God loves you so much. John 15:12, and Jesus is talking here, and it says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." Now, loving your neighbor doesn't necessarily mean you have to like them or respect them. You just have to be kind enough to them, maybe even avoid them, I guess. But this one here is one of my favorite ones, right? So it's 1 Corinthians 13:4-8, and it says, "Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails." So if you've ever been around people that will hold grudges and bring up the past over and over and over again, this scripture right here says it keeps no record of wrongdoings. Love is not supposed to be like that. If you've apologized and they've accepted the apology, it's supposed to be forgotten, crossed off, move on to the next, right? We're not like that. We're human. I get that. But still, it's what we're supposed to do. So as a recap to chapter 1 for journaling, it says each morning before getting out of bed, write 3 things you want to accomplish that day. Please try to keep 3 things as different as possible. If you didn't accomplish it that one day, hopefully you write 1 down of what you didn't accomplish in 2 different ones, or whatever the case is. You also want to write 3 things that you are grateful for. And at the end of each day, as you lay in bed, write 3 positive things that happened that day. And then I want you to celebrate your success however you feel it's necessary. Now, in addition to this, I also have this big, thick, humongous, let me grab it so I don't drop it, journal. This is a 365-day positive journal, also on Amazon. For instance, this one here says, create a to-do list. Break them down to 1 small task at a time. And does that help? It doesn't mean you actually have to answer what is in the book. You can write whatever it is you want. This one here says, instead of blaming myself for things that go wrong, try to understand the circumstances. I recently have had something bad happen, and I only have myself to blame for it. I can't blame anyone else. I did something that I shouldn't have done, and I didn't realize I was doing it. And today, for some whatever reason, it was like a light bulb went off, and I went, oh my stars, it was me. So make sure you take responsibility for yourself, your words, your actions, because it can hurt other people. And we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay. Is there any questions on this right here so far? I know I've only got like about 15, 20 minutes into this, but I'm sorry. I am like so sweating in this office here. All right. So the chapter 2 is called Ants. Ants are the automatic negative thought syndrome. So according to this here, it says, I want you, and again, I wrote this, I want you to do, right? Oh, I made a mistake. I want you to write to see where you were to where you're going. So each step is a great step, no matter how small it is. It's a great step. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Each step is a step to be celebrated as it's a success. So make sure you celebrate whatever little tiny steps they are. However, we do have ants on our heads, our negative committee, that keeps us from taking the step forward. In fact, it makes us take 2 steps back. And if that's the case, that's okay. If you got to take a step back or two, just turn right back around and go right back on those steps again, 1 point at a time. In this book I wrote, in my other book of Tiny Steps to Success, book 2, Value Yourself, which I pulled off the shelf and I have to get back in there because I have to change a few things. It says I give you the definition of value, so let me give it to you here as well. The definition of value from the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines worth as value of something measured by its qualities or by the esteem in which it is held. Because self-worth ultimately comes from within. The value that you place on yourself is the only type of worth you can control. You cannot control anyone else's thoughts or opinions of your worth. You are the only one. So make sure that you, and I'll be talking more about this later, so I'm just going to give a quick little thing. Make sure you know what your values are, your true core values: honesty, love, trust, whatever it is. If you don't know, look it up. Make sure you know what your ethics and your morals are. And I actually have a PowerPoint called Happiness that actually talks about your morals, your ethics, and your values. And it will help you form a better opinion of yourself and how you want others to treat you. So if you allow someone to call you names like I did in the past, if you allow others to walk all over you, cheat on you, I let my ex-husband do that. So if you've ever had anything like that done, remember, you need to find what your true values are, what your morals are, and what your ethics are before you can go anywhere else with anyone. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's see. Because you can only control you. You can control your actions and reactions. You can control your words and deeds. But you cannot control anyone else. Trust me, it doesn't work. Not even with kids. Just saying. Okay. So ants can really screw up your mental and emotional views and cause you to make decisions and take actions that are not what's best for you. So if you are in one of those situations where someone's yelling at you and cussing you out or whatever the case is, hi, welcome in. You want to make sure that you have all the information before you react. And this is where it's going to get very, very hard, because you're going to have ants in there yelling at you going, do this, do that, whatever the case is. I suggest you journal first. If you can walk away, journal, I would have someone, not me personally, but my current husband's ex, she would have her ex-husband call her and just start screaming at her. And she would sit there and listen to it. Well, my husband was her boyfriend. They weren't married. So my husband would take and hang up the phone, again, before me. And he told her, the next time he screams, just very gently hang up the phone. Eventually, he learned that if he screamed, she'd hang up. And so if it's that kind of situation, you can hang up the phone and walk away. If you're in a house and you can walk away safely without being hurt, please do so. Because it's all about how you react, what your actions are, what your words are, that only you can control. You can't control anyone else. And again, you want to be careful because you do not want to hurt anyone in the mental health aspect of things, no matter what they do to you, because you're not them. You're better than that, right? All right, so moving along. So if you find yourself doubting or not sure what to believe, ask yourself these few questions. You ready? Question 1, is this the absolute truth? Or is it a figment of my imagination? That's a 2-part for 1. Is this the absolute truth? Or is it a figment of my imagination? The next one, does this mean anything in the long term? In the big picture, that's my life. Does this mean anything? Is this going to affect me in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road? If so, how will it affect me? And what can I do to change it? Can I even change it? What can I learn from this situation? So in the issue that I just recently had, that is my absolute fault. I take full blame for what I had done on a different app. And I blamed others. And that's not what I'm about. I'm about taking my own responsibility, and I did not do that. So I was wrong. Again, I am not perfect. I never profess to be perfect, nor a professional. Just saying. So what can you learn from the situation? Can you move forward from where you're at? What could be some scenarios that are not about me? Can you think of anything that are not about me? I like that. I may never claim to be perfect, but I'm just perfectly me. You know, my husband's not perfect, but he's perfect for me. So I get that. That's awesome. Um, Another question is, what are the instances where cherished friends and loved ones have shown me gratitude? And in my case, did I take advantage of that? And I'll say, yes, I did. I was in the wrong. And I tried to correct, I tried to apologize, and they're not ready to listen. And that's okay. Again, I'm not perfect. Far from perfect, folks. And I need to get back into what I say, I practice. What I practice, I say. And I haven't done that in the last like 2 months, 3 months. And I just realized why. And I realized why I was called those names. And I realized why I thought people were shunning me, but they weren't. It was myself pulling away from people so I didn't get hurt. And so you need to realize, have they shown you gratitude? And if so, you want to have that as a positive in your life. Next question is, what am I truly grateful for? Amen to that one. Amen. Yes. What am I truly grateful for in my life? Like Megan said, God sent his son down here to die for us, and he died on that cross or that stake or whatever it is you believe. I'm not here to push my religion on anyone. It's just what I believe. And like the last one is, where's the evidence? If you don't have evidence, does that make it true or false? Well, if you don't have evidence, you probably need to reassess and reevaluate whatever that situation is, right? Okay, so these questions are simple but powerful enough to change your state of mind from the ands to positive, upbeat emotions and thoughts. So it's very important that you journal. Very important that you journal to keep track of all this stuff. So now that I have told you about the ants that love to lie to us, I have another step for you. And this treat here is basically based on domestic violence. So if it's not you, you don't have to do it. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. It's going to be the hardest things you'll ever have to do, but it's also the most effective. Well, at least it was for me. You see, I was abused from childhood all the way through my first marriage. In school, the whole 9 yards, I was called nasty names, trailer trash, and everything, right? And I really, truly thought it was that all these bad things happened to someone else, like it was my friend's story. But that's because I had it buried so deep that when my counselor brought it up, I mean, she didn't bring it up personally, but in an instance that something happened, it came out. And then everything was there. And you talk about overloading emotions. I was just flabbergasted with all of the feelings, thinking it would happen for the very first time all over again. As I'm journaling for the very first time in 2016, 2015, as I was journaling for the very first time, my husband would come over and he'd touch me that he was getting ready to go to bed. So it was 11 o'clock at night and I had to go to work. He had to go to work. And I screamed at him, how dare you touch me? So my poor husband put up a lot with me when I was first journaling and getting all that crap out of my head. And once I got it out, it was like this weight was lifted off me. So I wrote my story. It's called Abuse It Is What It Is. If you cannot handle abuse, I do not recommend it. If you want to know more about me, be my guest. So, what I would like for everyone to do is to write your story. And it doesn't have to be from the beginning, it could be whatever's happening right now. But write your story out. Whatever bad thing has happened, write your story out. Once you're done with the story, and don't rush in one day. It took me almost a year to write my whole story out and then get it in a book format to put on Amazon. I was that traumatized by it. So take your time, maybe a week or two, writing stuff out here and there. Walk away for about a week. I say at least a week. Personally, I did mine 2 weeks, but whatever it is you need to reevaluate. Go back, reread the story like your friend wrote it to you. Maybe like me. This is Llewellyn's story, and she's telling me this, and all my stars, I feel bad. This is what happened to her. Whatever the case is, right? Once you're done reading that story, I want you to write to your friend. I know it's you, but still pretend it was a friend. A forgiveness letter that you need to forgive yourself because, in my case, I was a child and I didn't know any better, right? Um, you're forgiven for not telling anyone because you didn't know because they told you not to. And as a child, we're taught to obey our elders, right? So write your story, whatever that story is. Give it about a week or two, go back, reread it like a friend had sent it to you, and then write them a forgiveness letter to forgive themselves. Forgiving yourself is like one of the hardest things that you can ever do. When you're done with that, give it 2-3 weeks more, go back and reread both of them, rip them up, shred them, burn them. I say burn. I burnt mine. Oh my stars. It was like this fire with all of the um, papers going up with the embers, and all I kept thinking is I was releasing the anger, I was releasing the pain, and I was releasing all the hurt that had been done to me as a child. It was all going up with those embers. And I just felt like this big, huge weight was lifted off me. And I can tell you my story now. I have no problem talking about it. But back then, oh, there was no way on God's green earth that I was talking about that because it would just make me tear up and cry and bawl. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to take your time to write this. Take your time. When you're all done with that in the forgiveness letter, go back, read it one last time, and then burn them. Get them out of your head, get them out of your soul, out of your heart. It really is, isn't it? Okay, so again, it's very important that you do the journaling because journaling can heal you faster, both emotionally and physically. There was a study done in 2005 on the emotional and physical health benefits of expressive writing. And researchers found that a 15 to 20 minutes of writing 3 to 5 times over the course of a 4-month study was enough to make a positive impact. And since I've been writing these books and doing what I preach about, I find it so much easier to ask myself the questions above, as well as to reflect on everything. Your mind influences everything. So how you feel, how you learn, how you act, how you react. You have the power and control of your mind. So take back your power. Act and react differently, maybe kinder, softer, gentler. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I am definitely not perfect. Because your mind is the source of all that you are. Your mind creates and holds your beliefs. So the definition of a belief is an opinion or something that a person holds to be true. So faith in God is an example of a belief. I have faith in God. He'll see me through everything. Something believed or accepted as true, especially a particular tenet or a body of tenets accepted by a group of persons. So question for you, you don't have to answer it here, but question for you is, what beliefs do you hold true for yourself? What beliefs do you hold true? Write them down. Now, as a survivor of abuse, our beliefs are often more impactful than your average person who's had an abuse-free life. Now, my husband was never abused growing up. Never. He had a very loving, one-parent, loving household, and he didn't understand where I was coming from. And all the crap that he's learned has been a grand gesture of love and support and just downright concern for me and my well-being. And so we both learned through all that. But because ours tend to be more critical of ourselves. We are more judgmental of ourselves than we are of others, right? So I'm telling you right now, it's time to break free from those limiting beliefs and replace them with new self-loving ones. It's not easy. It is so not easy. I have something on my screen here. Hold on. There. So I understand completely. Okay, so on this one, you're supposed to get out a sheet of paper and write a line down in the middle of the line. So on one side, you're going to write belief. On the other side, you're going to write truth. And I'm going to give you some examples. So here's a belief. My abuser is at fault for all the hardship in my life. Oh. What was the last thing you heard? Bad reception? Oh, dear. All right, let me see something here. Is that any better? That's one thing I don't do is I don't go back and actually look at my lives. Okay, now I am back. All right, so get out a journal or get a piece of paper out, draw a line down the middle. On one side, put beliefs, on the other side, truth. So here's an example that I'm going to give you. The belief is my abuser is at fault for all the hardship in my life. Oh no. The truth is my abuser did leave me with PTSD, but my whole life is not just my PTSD. So the belief, and some people do that because they always have that victim mindset. And when the victim mindset, they're like, well, my abuser's at fault. If he didn't abuse me, I wouldn't be this way. But that's not the truth. Because my abusers, two of them, abused me, actually several, but the main two, right? They did leave me with actually CPTSD, which is a complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So let me tell you. Okay. Well, hopefully my video will go through for everything. I may have to start watching them because I haven't been watching these since I started doing the lives, and I don't know if it skips or if it just keeps repeating. I honestly don't know, so I apologize. I am just so sweaty. So get a journal, draw a line down the middle. One side put belief, the other side put truth. And an example is my abuser is at fault for all the hardship in my life. That's what you put on the belief side. On the truth side, it's my abuser did leave me with PTSD or whatever else you have, but my whole life is not just PTSD. My whole life isn't about my symptoms that they've diagnosed me with, right? Those are just illnesses that I can work through here eventually. Another belief is I have no power because of the abuse I endured. That is definitely not true. You have the power. You just have to find it deep within you. The truth is my abuser caused me hardship, but my life today is more than my past experiences. It's very important that you know that. All right, one more example. So a belief is my abuser took away all my potential for having a happy or good life. No. The truth is, again, belief, truth, right? The truth is I have the power to control and take responsibility for my own actions, feelings, and have a good life. Just may take more work due to my past. I am in a much better place today than I was when I was married to my first husband. And I pray that you find the same experiences, that you find the power within to make your life as great as you possibly can. Because no one else can make your life great, only you can. Okay, so let's do a recap. So you're going to write down your whole sort of detail, right? Or record, or however you want to do it. Then you're going to give yourself a few days, I say about a week or two, before going back to it. And again, you want to wait, go back to it, reread it like a friend is writing it to you and asking, where do I go next? And, oh, excuse me. Then when you're done with that 2 weeks, go back and write a forgiveness letter. You are forgiven. You are worthy. You are loved. Whatever that friend, I know the inner you, needed to hear at that time in their lives. And then burn them. As you lay in bed at night, write in the journal the 3 positive things about the day. What is the best thing that happened today, all throughout the day? What was the best thing that happened? And in the morning, journal the 3 things that you want to accomplish before even getting out of bed, 3 things that you are grateful for, and then celebrate your success. Again, you can be jumping on the bed. I don't care. So that's the ants part of it. So do we have any questions regarding journaling or the ants so far? And forgive me, it is hot in this room. So in my current counselor that I'm seeing right now, I told her that I do affirmations like I am loved, I am good, I am kind, things like that. And she says sometimes that doesn't work. And she's right. Sometimes it doesn't work. I can say I am smart, but do I really believe it? Probably not. So she told me to use different verbiage. Things like, what is it? Jiminy Cricket, what was it? It was, I think it was, I believe that I am good. I believe I'm smart. I believe it's what it is. I'm going to have to go back and look now. Oh my goodness. Don't quote me on that, folks. All right. So chapter 3 in my Right Step book is about affirmations. And some of them can be things like, I know, accept, and am true to myself. I believe in, trust, and have confidence in myself. I eat well, exercise regularly, and get plenty of rest to enjoy good health. Okay, I don't do that part, but I'm just saying. I learn from my mistakes. I do learn from my mistakes. Sometimes it takes me longer than other times, but I do learn. Another could be, I know I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. The next one could be, I forgive myself for not being perfect because I know I am human. The next one is, I take responsibility for my thoughts and feelings. And there's more. There's so much more you could say. Like, I am good. I am kind. I believe in myself. Is this the same? What? Yes. This is Positivity Girl from over there. Okay, so John C. Maxwell says, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret to your success is found in your daily routine. That's John C. Maxwell. Okay, so affirmations can work because it has the ability to program your mind into believing the stated concept. But they don't always work for everyone. The mind doesn't really know the difference between what is real and what is fantasy. For instance, when you watch a movie and you laugh or cry, or your mind is empathizing with the characters on the screen, even though it's only on TV. So my daughter loaned me a video to watch, and she says, "Have tissues handy. You're going to bawl like a baby." I'm like, "Oh, great. That's not what I wanted to hear, right?" So I'm going to be watching that and be crying. But that's what happens. The emotions that we put into a book or into a movie or a TV series, or we're like, or yay, or whatever the case is, right? We know they're not real, but our mind can play these tricks on us. Exactly. Yes. So you will focus on my own happiness. I will learn to do everything for myself and not be dependent on others. Very good. Yes, that is so good. Um, Ephesians 2:10, it says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Now, this was my favorite, Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Isaiah 43:4, "Since you are precious and honored in my sight, and because I love you, I will give people in exchange for you, nations in exchange for your life." So, writing and reciting affirmations, especially when you say them out loud, will help you change the way you think about yourself. Oh, Tyler, you got yourself in a pickle there. So examples of affirmations that you can put on post-it notes and place all over through your house, your work area, your car, around a computer frame, stuff like that, right? Are things like, "I'm good, I'm kind, I am loved, and I can whatever you can do." Yes, Tyler. Um, Another one can be, "I can, I will, end of story." And that's the way I'm going to do it. "I'm worthy, I'm gentle, I work through my fears, I will follow my dreams, and I am in charge of me." And that's an important one. I am in charge of me. You're not in charge of me, and I'm not in charge of you. I'm in charge of me, and you're in charge of you. Just saying. But write the ones that fit you, ones that you need the most. Make sure those affirmations are that, right? Um, So, writing the words down makes your brain more likely to retain and accept the information. And this makes it feel even more real. So, which is what you want to do to make it work on your behalf to change or transform your mental and emotional state. You want to write it, say it out loud, things like that. So, saying them out loud as a normal voice will work. It's so that your ears will hear them and it will go to your brain faster and hopefully will stay there. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever grown up in an abusive home like I did, my birth mother, my egg donor, and her husband, my stepfather, would say things like, "Why can't you be smart like your sister? Why are you so stupid? Why can't you dress like this?" Okay, I didn't buy my clothes, folks, just saying. Why? Always in comparison, right? So those are in my head. Well, man, I'm going to use Megan as an example here. Megan is so smart. Look at all the stuff that she went through. Wow. Why can't I be more like her? Now I'm comparing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's bad, isn't it? Yeah. Not only do we not want to compare our children to other children, we also don't want to compare ourselves with other people in general. We don't want to do that. So when you hear something enough, bad or good, you're going to believe it. So say these affirmations out loud to yourself. So what your eyes can see, what your brain was hiding, right? So here's a good point. So I'm so sorry. That's horrible. So Walter E. Jacobson, MD, said, there is value in affirmations of this nature because our subconscious mind plays a major role in the actualization of our lives and the manifestation of our desires. What we believe about ourselves at a subconscious level, he says, can have a significant impact on the outcome of events. So if we hear the negative enough growing up, we're going to focus on the negative, right, as adults. So now I'm telling you, focus on the positive about yourself. Say them out loud because you've heard the negative enough. So now we need to hear the positive enough. So once you write down your affirmations, your eyes can see them. Once you say them, your ears can hear them. Once you do both, your brain will eventually believe them. Just make sure that you do your affirmations. Make sure that you do your journaling. Make sure we get rid of the ants. Make sure you write your story out. Make sure the affirmations fit your needs. Ooh, yeah, I get it. I get it. So I'm going to end right there on my chapter 3 of my book. If you want the book, it's on Amazon. If you want it from me, message me, send me $10 and I will sign it and send it to you. But right now I have just a few more minutes left. Is there any questions from the ones that are here? I can do PayPal. I can do Facebook Pay. I can do Venmo. I even have a Square where I can send you a link and you just pay with a credit card that way or debit card or whatever. What else do I have? Venmo, Cash App. I've got all sorts of things. But I'm going to be doing this here next week and probably in another 2 weeks, I think, because I'm only on chapter 3 of here. But it's important that you work on you because I can't work on you. It's important that you change your mindset to believe whatever it is that you need to believe. So if there's no questions, I'm going to close this up. I want to thank you very much for being here. I can't wait to see you again next week. And remember that God loves you, and so do I. I want you to have a blessed night. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone. You too, Megan. Oh, wrong one. Want that one. Oh, my goodness.